Damn, homie. The only problem with drinking Modelos at home is that they go down so easy, and you end up with nothing but empty glass bottles. Like, what are you gonna do with all of them, bro? You got any ideas? Yeah, bro. Like, you got nothing but empty bottles here, dude. Like, what do you expect to do with them? It's really a bummer to go out and throw them out in the trash bin all the time. So, is there a better use for these empty glass bottles? Hmm. I got some ideas of what we can do with these empty glass bottles. I'm thinking tissue culture. Turn these babies into vessels, fill them up with media, stick some plants in there. That sounds interesting? Stay tuned. And welcome to my YouTube channel, How to Tissue Culture with Kevin. Enjoy.
Alright, let's get right into it. First, we're going to add 1.8 grams of MS with vitamins. Next, we're going to add 12 grams of sugar. Make sure that dissolves nice and well. And we're going to pH it down, in this case down to 5.8. I think it was closer to like 7 when we started, but yeah, pretty close, as you can see on the close-up. So, thank you for that. Next, we're going to add 2.8 grams of agar for this mix for the 6-pack. And we're going to turn up the heat all the way. We're going to let that reach a boil. But in the meantime, how did I figure out how much we're going to put in each vessel? Well, I ended up just measuring out 50 mils in a graduated cylinder and then just pouring that into the beer bottle. And that's what I wanted to shoot for. So 50 mils sounds about right. Marked it, and yeah, you can do that to the rest of your bottles. Once that media has reached its boiling temperature, it's going to go ahead and boil. Be careful with this glass beaker. I flip tortillas with my bare hands, so if you know, you know. Alright, so go ahead and carefully pour it. Please be careful, do not burn yourself if you do this at home. Maybe you shouldn't do any of this at home. Don't do any of this at home. Just be entertained. I hope you learned something, but be entertained. But yeah, there you go. We reached our level of volume that we wanted for our first beer bottle. Now we're going to do it to the next ones. You know, you can eyeball it. You can get very specific about it. And you can measure everything out. We're doing this at home. It's supposed to be fun. Alright, so next, after they're all poured in, go ahead and cap them with aluminum foil. I use heavy duty here, so it's kind of thicker, which is nicer, so it doesn't rip as easy, but yeah, you don't have to do anything too fancy. And in fact, you don't want these to be on there too tight, because then, they'll pop off under pressure. So, into the autoclave, in this case, a pressure cooker, they go. Just give them some space, and I also threw in some dishes and some waters, so make sure those are not capped too tight either. And yeah, and just let them reach the temperature and the pressure and let them go for 25 minutes. After that, remove them from the heat and let them cool down, and then take them out, and here we go. We got this right here. Check it out. Looks a little darker, but when it cools down, it looks like this, and then you're ready to go. You're ready to rock. You have fresh media in Modelo bottles. Like, what do you guys think about that? Pretty cool. Here are our plants that we're going to use for this video. Got some begonias, caladiums, and some Venus flytraps. These are some of my old stock, and we're going to get right into it. Alright, so we're going to set down a dish. Use some of that autoclave water, pressure cooked water, sterilized water. And yeah, and just cool down our tools from our bead sterilizer. And we'll get right into our plants. Pop off the plastic wrap and check out our babies. This is some of my old begonias that I've been working on, and we're just gonna go ahead and take them out piece by piece, careful or not. No, these are your plants, but you know, begonias are pretty resilient. They can definitely grow back pretty easily off of most tissue. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and just pop off that aluminum cap that we put on there before we pressure cooked it. And we're gonna place our plant inside. Now you could totally cut this into however many pieces you want, but for the sake of this video, we're just gonna place these plants right in there. This piece of begonia, this piece, this eggplant, whole plant, plant. We got it. Look at this, bam. And to be honest, I would have preferred to go a little bit deeper into the media, but my freaking tweezers were not long enough, so I ordered two pairs actually of tweezers today that are going to be a lot longer and useful. So there you go. But for now, that's what we ended up with. This is what my first Modelo tissue culture plant looked like. And you know what? Not too bad. I ended up sealing the top here with rubber bands, just for the sake of the video, just to see what this would look like. This was the first time trying this, so if it works out, pretty cool. Especially because it was practically free after you're done drinking the cerveza. Alright, so these are more of the plant cuttings that I have. So I took them out of their culture already and just went ahead and placed more in beer bottles. Here's a close-up view. Here is my next bottle that I have. Now we're going to go ahead and place this plant right in there again. Just stick it in gentle or not. I was trying to keep it gentle, but then I just let it plop in, and I think it was going to be alright either way. I let it chill right there, and the roots generally grow into the media, so it's all good. The main point here is just to try to make this plant stay alive without it getting dirty, especially being in these containers. That's kind of the experiment here, but I don't know. Again, longer tweezers would have made this easier. I ended up using a couple more of the rubber bands this time just to be a bit more secure with it. But you can try as many as you want if you end up trying this at home. Now, generally speaking, this whole process, if I didn't mention before, should have been done with wearing gloves. Ideally, actually, you should have worn gloves, but I didn't, because this is just for the sake of the video. If it works, even without gloves, I'd be pretty impressed. But look at that thing. It looks pretty awesome if you ask me. Double thumbs up, baby. Now we're going to work on some Venus flytraps. Look at them gals. Pretty fucked up. But, we'll do what we can. Clean them up. Put them in vessels and see what we can do. These I'm actually going to chop up into like fours and bits because they would just grow a bit better. I wanted to clean them up ideally, but then I got over it, so I ended up just going ahead and just ripping out some bad bits and then popping them in right into the Modelo. And for these it was even harder, so I ended up just popping them in like I said and just letting them kind of fall from my tweezers. I couldn't place them into the agar, so next time I either have to put more agar in there, maybe go 100 milliliters, might be too much, maybe 75, or just use longer tweezers. So that's key point for next time. But if this works, as long as these stay clean, I'd be very impressed, very happy with that. So here you saw me make more. And I decided to wait to put on the rubber band on these just to make more of them first, and I cut up a few here, and that's a close-up view. Alright, and for this one I ended up popping 2 large pieces of Venus flytrap tissue. Which, look at those babies in there. And yeah, this is basically the final product. A 6-pack of tissue culture plants in Modelo bottles. What do you guys think? I say it's better than recycling, especially because you can actually use them. In the pressure cooker, they did not explode. You know, some might, so be careful. Just be careful with glass. Be careful with any of these bottles. These were not intended for this purpose, but I just had an idea, and so far, these came out pretty alright. This one here, I put a mixture of 2 plants, some Venus flytraps, and then some more of the begonia bits. I just wanted to see what would happen. I hope they survive, but if not, I hope you guys enjoyed the video and it was entertaining. I think I'm going to go ahead and try to make more of these. Eventually, maybe put them up on the Etsy store, but definitely go ahead and check that out. Clean Monsters on Etsy. I'll put a link in the description below. And if you survive, you'll be able to check those out and purchase these on there. But if not, I'm just going to make new ones and then eventually have them up. But yeah, otherwise, thank you for tuning in to How to Tissue Culture. I appreciate your time. See ya.